Well, boy, howdy, here we are again for episode 6.
Back again.
Is it episode 6?
Still not canceled.
I think so. Is it 6? Is it 6, Scott, or 7? I don't know. 7. Episode 7. Strike that. Episode 7.
We should change the name of this podcast to the Dad Pod #, still not canceled.
Still not canceled.
Still not canceled.
Which, who knows? These could be in the Smithsonian one day.
Yeah. I think we're not canceled because right when we cross the line to offending people, I go on and tell people that I'm fat and uncomfortable, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, he's not completely an asshole."
Yeah, well, completely. Potato. It's fine.
Before we get started, man, you were vulnerable enough to share with us about the funeral you were attending in New York.
Yep.
How'd it go for you?
It was, the thing is, as far as funerals go, I saw people I haven't seen in 30 years that I went to high school with. It was wonderful. Like, we laughed our asses off, just busted balls. It was good. It was healing. Billy's a guy that I loved. I didn't talk to him in a while, but it was just good to he's good. I know wherever he's at right now, he's good. His family's amazing.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Thank you for asking.
He said they packed both the church and the bar.
Oh yeah. Well, there was like 15, 20 of us all got together. My buddy's bar restaurant, walked up to the church together for the mass. But we'd been together as a group like for 3 days straight, just meeting at certain places and just having drinks and pizza and wings. And that's what you do in upstate New York. And, but had a great time as much as you can to honor a great man.
I think that's the best way to honor anybody. I love a good, damn, that sounds awful. I don't love a good wake. I don't want anybody to know that you care to die. Right. But I think that's the best way to honor somebody's life.
Absolutely.
You grieve and then you.
When I'm dead, I've told Brandy, I want, get someplace, put a microphone up, have everyone have 4 or 5 drinks and just get up and start busting my balls.
Yeah.
Do it. Or funny stories about being with me.
100%. Karaoke at my funeral,
man.
Yeah,
done.
That's what I wanted.
So yeah.
I want to start today with a topic that's been lingering on my mind. We're not TMZ here. I wanted to get all the facts out. I wanted to understand everything before I delivered it. But no one is preparing young men for toxic masculinity. And I think Shannon Sharpe is the perfect example.
Toxic femininity.
Toxic femininity. No one is preparing young men for toxic femininity. And Shannon Sharpe is our perfect example. Shannon Sharpe has everything that we would say a stereotypical alpha male man would want. Jacked, NFL legend, Super Bowl title. This guy's a famous podcaster. He has his own podcast. He's on sports television. Millions of dollars, unlimited access. He knows LeBron James. And he was still manipulated into losing it all by a 19-year-old girl.
All about the pussy.
19.
All about the pussy.
This isn't a professional. She's not 25, right? She hasn't develop that frontal lobe and become a master manipulator. 19, right?
Yeah.
If you're a successful businessman, 50, 60, 70 years old, sometimes other successful businessmen out-manipulate you. They out-business you. It's a part of life, right? But these are highly trained professional business assassins. He was manipulated out of his entire character. That's a complete character assassination by a 19-year-old girl. And if it's happening to millionaire NFL legend Shannon Sharpe, what's happening to your average Joe Schmo, run-of-the-mill 25-year-old who has no clue, no power, nothing what's going on?
Same thing's happening with Jordan Hudson, who's Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Same thing's happening. It's bananas how these toxic women are using the power of their femininity to control and take over the lives of men.
Yeah.
It's bananas. And as dads, you're either in 3 different situations as a dad. You're either single and you're trying to figure your shit out.
Yeah.
You are married and you're in a great relationship. Actually, there's a couple more. You're married, you're in a great relationship, solid with your wife. You're married, but she's toxic, or you're toxic and shit's just, you're battling every day, but you're there for the kids, which is total horseshit, by the way. Never fucking do that. And what was the other one? The other one is you are dating somebody and that person is toxic. That girl is toxic to you, but because of your own insecurities or it's almost like you want that quick like dopamine rush. So you're with someone that's younger and it makes you feel more validated in your mind.
I don't think no matter how old a woman gets, 60, 70, they would still like to be in somebody's painting. They would still like a rock song written about them, right? I don't think women ever get tired of feeling special, right? And I don't think men ever get tired of being attracted to beautiful young women. I don't think you ever,
agreed.
You work around it.
You're always going to look.
Yeah.
You're always going to look.
You're mature enough to be like, you know what? I got a family. I'm not interested. But like, if from like a primal instinct, it never goes away. Just
Ever.
Like, remember the Titanic at the very end? The old lady, she's like 100 years old, still fantasizing about when some poor Irish lad gave her the business.
She's still getting wet for Leo.
100%.
Still getting wet for Leo.
Like no matter what age.
God bless her.
That feeling never goes away.
God bless her.
God bless her.
That 104-year-old labia is still old man in a boat, man. Hard as a rock. Let's go.
She's sick in the Titanic. You
Let's
feel
go.
me? That's the
Let's go.
But guys are never. What are we going to hear in the comments section when we talk about this? When we tell people, hey, have some empathy for Shannon Sharpe. Well, he's a man. He should just learn. He has power over. He can deal with it. Men are given this message where when women do something bad, they're told, well, you're a man. You should be able to handle it. Okay, so what you're saying is I'm better than her, so she should never be able to get a victory over me. But then if you stand up and go, okay, well, then I'm better than her, what does that mean? They go, you're not better, you're equal. Okay, well, if we're equal, then why don't you feel bad when she takes advantage of me, right? And I think a lot of young men have grown up in this world where it's this cognitive dissonance of, okay, me and women are equal. Oh, this woman did something really evil to me, punish her. And then they're told, no, you're a man, deal with it. It's like, well, this doesn't feel equal. If Shannon Sharpe had hit that girl, toxic masculinity at its finest,
all day,
would there be a discussion? Would anybody be telling her to deal with it? No. Why don't we ever equate female manipulation and narcissism and abuse? We always talk about mental health, right? Always talk about mental health, young boys, mental health. Okay, why are we not allowed to talk about how these women have an effect on men's mental health, mental warfare? Right? Where men attack with our fists, they attack with their words.
And it's gone on from the dawn of time when the first cave woman drew pictures of herself with boobies on the side of a cave wall.
Sure.
And when the first caveman jerked off to that little petroglyph, whatever the fuck it's called, then it's like, oh my God, here we go.
It's over.
And you know when women have what's called pretty privilege.
Sure.
Which I never knew about until I started dating my now wife, because she told me all about it. Like, it's how you get out of speeding tickets. It's how you never pay for a drink. It's how you get meals paid for.
Sure.
All down that Birkin bag, especially here in Vegas, there's a whole cottage industry for women to manipulate men by using their looks.
Yeah.
And men, it's a tough one, because I've been there. When I was initially divorced, I was dating girls way younger than me. Had a blast, but it was very short and fleeting, and it was like really cool for a short amount of time and then gone. I just couldn't do that anymore. But there's men that are like, I don't know how long Shannon Sharpe's been single, or if he even is single, but like the graphic text messages this girl was sharing was like, holy shit balls. 19 years old. 19 years old. And he's what, in his 40s?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so
maybe early 50s.
But is like, you look at him and you have this perception of he's got his shit together.
Yeah.
Look at all of his success. I mean, years of success. He's one of the rare ones that trampolined from a successful pro football career onto television.
Yeah.
From that onto podcasting. Holy shit. And so for a guy like him, not to be taken down, but to be knocked down a rung, like you might see now stuff like him no longer having a job with certain like networks or
character assassination.
Complete character assassination. So I think it's something that as men, we just, it's you even have to double down on yourself even more.
Yeah.
And that's mental, physical, spiritual, whatever it takes. But you've got to have, you're always like refiner's fire. You're always making yourself better.
Yeah.
Always making yourself better.
Sure.
Because, and also to have a support system. And we've talked about this, how men are tough with we won't share our feelings a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was Shannon Sharp and that was happening, does he have a buddy, a brother, somebody they can go to and go, hey, man, is this normal, do you think? Look at what this girl's messaging me.
What
Is
happens?
this okay?
What happens when everyone in your community thinks it's normal?
Yeah.
Now, again, it's impossible to talk about this without talking about race because Shannon Sharp is a black man in America, where 80% of black men in America grow up without their fathers, right? You discussed earlier, like, oh, well, they're running to these women because it makes them feel a certain way. I think they're running to these women because, like all of us, they remind them of their own mothers, right? If you were raised by a toxically feminine person, you've normalized that behavior, right? So when you see that text message, when you see that kind of behavior, you don't think, oh, this is weird. I need to talk to somebody about this. You go, oh, well, I saw my mom juggle boyfriends and I saw my mom do this. Well, that's normal to me. And no one wants to talk about it because no one wants to offend that group of people. So we'd rather let these young men suffer and be manipulated, assassinated, and completely bullied out of society rather than stand up and say, hey, look, they're dating women like their moms. Maybe we need to talk about this. I know it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's clearly a problem.
Men, dads especially, need to have some type of a lifeline where they can talk to people.
Yeah.
Or to talk to someone. Talk to someone. I have my best friend of over 40 years, Sean Kutry, who's in upstate New York.
Sure.
We spent literally every day together when I was back there. He's my guy. If I'm going through something, I can call him at 3 a.m. He'll answer the phone and help me out, and vice versa. And that's happened before. And so men need to address their own flaws.
Sure.
And not only address them, but have a friend, a therapist, somebody to go to. Because if not, you are opening yourself up for what Shannon Sharp's doing. What if Bill Belichick was black?
Oh, now you want to have fun with me. First off.
Wait. What if Bill Belichick was black with a 23-year-old white woman?
First off, there's no way they let that man get to 5 Super Bowl titles or whatever the hell he has. There's no way. All that angry storming shit, they would have called him an angry black man and fired him in 2001. There's no way he would have gotten away with that, right?
Also, black people never dress that way. He's awful.
They would have never let him wear.
That would be an affront to the African American culture to wear a holy sweatshirt all the time.
No, they would have. He would have got clowned into
right.
They would have clowned his hoodie, his shoes.
So back to my original question is regarding the Shannon Sharp fiasco that's going on right now. What if Bill Belichick was black in the situation that Bill Belichick is in with Jordan Hudson?
I think it'd be different. Well, if Bill Belichick was black, I think he would grow up the same way Shannon Sharp did. Earlier, we talked about pretty privilege, right? Pretty privilege. Your friend, Sean Kutry. Does he have 2 parents? Did he grow up with a mom and a dad?
Yep, and they're still together and they're still alive. Wild.
That's crazy. I think the greatest privilege of all time isn't pretty privilege. It's something I've had to learn over time. It's 2-parent privilege, right? Whether your parents got divorced midway through, whatever, the simple art of growing up for a long time with 2 parents, I think it's the greatest privilege ever. I think you're able to talk to your friend because you both know what a stable relationship should look like, right? You at least have a facsimile, an understanding of that, okay? What if you and let's say 8 of your friends all grew up without dads, right? 8 people is enough to convince you of anything, right? So if 8 people around you all think that a woman's behavior is normal and acceptable, where are you to go then, right? Your circle is filled with people with 2 parents. Shannon Sharp's circle may not be filled with that. How do we help those men, right? How do we connect there?
So that's my original question.
Yeah.
Compare the social media backlash that Shannon Sharp is experiencing to what would the social media backlash be if Bill Belichick was a black man?
What do you mean? Like how the media would react to him?
How social media would react to him.
If a 63-year-old...
73.
73.
73 of the 24-year-old. And right now, just to paint the picture in detail for you, the comments are all about it's elder abuse, or they met on seeking arrangements, and they're trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going out there right now.
Weirdly enough, I think people would be... People really like the interracial relationship thing right now. People are a big fan of that. So seeing a 23-year-old white lady with a 73-year-old black guy, people would call it healing. Weirdly enough, right? In the 60s, they would just lynch him. But nowadays, I think they would call it healing, right? But I think people are... No one wants to talk about it openly because they feel uncomfortable about it. But everyone kindly suspects that she's using him. Right? Everybody, like, we talk around it, we wink at it, we go, oh, look at her managing his social media now. Oh, look, taking him in this direction. Like, we all talk around it because I think everybody in the media lacks the balls to say, hey, she's kind of taking advantage of a 73-year-old man.
I don't know the guy's name, but he had a guy for years at New England that was his like press liaison.
Yeah.
Because he's not the best on camera.
No.
He's like tofu. He's just very bland.
Yeah.
And that's fine. The guy's got 6 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, sure.
Fuck off. He's got jewelry. So he doesn't have that. He has her. So he needs that. It's just like her being on the field, like when they're practicing. Her and she's all dressed up in something sexy.
Putting
it's
herself in commercials and shit.
Yes. It's like, come on. So that's
remember
that's
Anna
all.
Nicole Smith?
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The buxom blonde lady dating the old man. We all know like she doesn't love him, right? But then she died and we kind of turned her into some sort of like feminist icon.
Like a Marilyn Monroe.
Right? Like, okay, let's flip the script. 23-year-old black guy dating 73-year-old billionaire heiress. Does anybody allow that to happen? Does anybody... Right? We would instantly front page like this is we know what's going on here. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Lynch him. Yeah. Right? They wouldn't allow it.
Also, after one sexual encounter, both of her hips would be broken.
She wants the BBC.
Yeah. So that's like completely gone. All right. Kids dependent on AI. And because I was talking to my daughter yesterday about what are some topics that Brandon and I should have on the pod.
Yeah.
And she said, a big one that's happening is, and this is at her school, but at other schools as well, and I'm sure this is nationwide, kids are using AI, like ChatGPT, for whenever they have a take-home or a test that is long. And so you got to have like, it's not just pick A, B, C, D, or E. You got to do a written answer. They're using ChatGPT to come up with the answers. The teachers now have technology to find out what's being used by AI or what's really them, giving them a 0, and they don't care.
That's counterintuitive.
And they don't care. They have no emotion, no motivation to do the work on their own. And when they're caught, they don't care.
I think because kids are smart. I think this is where we may disagree, and this may be not the answer you expect from me. This generation of kids is smarter than we give them credit for. They're dumb. They're still emotionally stunted, but they're smart. They know bullshit when they see it. Okay, so if I go to Google and find the answer and then take 30 minutes to write the answer, that's okay. But if I just have ChatGPT shorten it for me, now that's a problem. That doesn't work. The second we introduce Google and computers, all the learning is different.
I agree and disagree. I agree about the whole, like the Google analogy. Absolutely. It comes down to, with AI, it's garbage in, garbage out, or good data in, good data out.
Sure.
So you have to give it a really good prompt.
Sure.
In order to have I did my mom's obituary with ChatGPT. It was awesome. But I gave it, I took 45 minutes to put together this giant prompt to go into it.
How you felt about her,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I had an emotional investment that I gave to this, AI platform, and it gave me back something great. What's happening now is kids are so lazy, they're putting in bare minimum because it's coming back. The teacher's flagging them saying, this is plagiarism or AI, whatever. You get a 0. Redo it. They're not redoing it.
I think that's teachers being lazy.
How?
Okay, you said good data in, bad data in, okay? You line up 15 kids and have them do a report on Shakespeare using ChatGPT. The smarter kid or the kid who understands English is going to have a better ChatGPT report because he understands the fundamental basics of what Shakespeare's trying to convey, and he's putting that back into the ChatGPT. If you have a kid who's never read Shakespeare before and he goes, hey, ChatGPT, write me a short story based on Shakespeare, he's going to get a generic story.
Yeah.
Teachers, the problem is teachers aren't being paid enough to keep up with where the technology is going. Teachers should be grading people on how. No one wants to hear this. We don't have a Dewey Decimal card anymore. The goal is how quickly and efficiently can you get to the answer, right? Well, ChatGPT lets you get to the answer. We should be judging these people, these kids, on how efficiently they're using it, not on whether they're using it or not.
If they're using it as a crutch, I disagree. If they're using it as if they can't formulate their own concepts and they have to rely on something else to do it, no, wrong. But if you already have it here, but you just need to kind of help me get from brain to mouth.
Sure.
And if you need a platform to do that, and then you go over it afterwards and make some edits, that I'm okay with.
Then why give them laptops and Google at all?
Exactly right.
Remove it from the school, right? Like, you can't, kids are dumb, but they're smart. You can't say, here's the entire world's information. Here's a computer that can autocorrect your English. Here's a computer that if I type a Google search into, give me Shakespeare's 10 best plays, you can't give them that, but then say, oh, this is too much. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Either remove all of the technology or train teachers to criticize based on ChatGPT. Don't just say, oh, here's a program we built that tells me if you use. No, use a program that judges the kids based on how many prompts they put into ChatGPT.
What those prompts are.
Sure. If give the kid a test. We still have tests and pop quizzes, right? Okay, give the kid a pop quiz. Hey, are you able to understand the idea without ChatGPT? Right?
I agree. Vegas Dad Survival Guide. Go.
Visiting dad or living here?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I think one of the most underrated aspects, I think Vegas dads have a harder time than dads almost anywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you fuck up, you will know by 18 years old when you see your daughter starring at Little Darlings. Right? If you fuck up, there are a million people in this city ready to use your bad parenting to their advantage. It's everywhere.
Shout out to whoever does the signs for Little Darlings.
Oh, shout out. They have the funny, is there a memorable, because I almost get crashes on the 15 because some of them shits be so funny.
The Doge one, and they fired all the ugly ones.
All the ugly ones. Hundreds of beautiful women and then a couple of ugly ones. Yeah.
So shout out to whoever does the marketing, the signage, the electric sign for Little Darlings. Go ahead, continue.
Being a dad in Vegas is hard. I know because my dad raised 3 sons in this city, right? It's hard. By the age of 14, most of us have access to alcohol and drugs. It's everywhere. Everybody I knew a friend. Hell, my senior year of high school, we had a girl stripping at a strip club, right? And this was in high school. And I had a fake ID where I could go watch her at a strip club. This is normal behavior in Vegas, right? I think being a dad here is harder than almost any city that you could imagine outside of some of the war-torn ones.
I think that we're the toughest city in the United States to raise kids.
Yes.
Absolutely, because you have body dysmorphia issues.
Yep.
Because look at all the billboards.
Yep.
Of the day clubs and the strip joints and the van going up and down the strip with the girls. It's been the same girls for 30 years.
Yep.
To come to your room. I think that's why, especially here as a dad, you need to be hyper vigilant in what your child sees. I mean, where my kid goes to school, she's right near Fremont Street.
Yeah.
She goes to Container Park sometimes to get a coffee.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, good for you to go on your own.
Be adventurous.
But I've taught her about situational awareness.
Yeah.
Honey, make sure your head's on a swivel. We're just looking for something. If something looks weird, get away from it as fast as you can.
Yeah. But I think ultimately what makes Las Vegas great, it's easy to be a great dad with no temptation around. right? Not easy. Nothing's easy about being a dad. I think it's easier to be anything with no temptation. It's easy to say that I'm a pious man who would never leave my wife when there's not hot young girls trying to Shannon Sharp you. I think it's easy to say I would never drink and gamble when there's no bars or casinos near you, right? But being a dad in an area where drinking is 24/7, gambling is 24/7, drugs are 24/7, partying, sex, rock and roll is 24/7, being a dad here puts you to the test, right? Which is why I think we have this podcast.
I love it.
Right?
Well, it's also, what advice would you give a dad who is coming to Vegas with his kids?
Keep them off the strip. Or if you're going to walk the strip, depending on the age, have the talk with them ahead of time, right? You're going to see the cutouts with the naked girls. They're going to be on the concrete. People blatantly smoke weed up and down the strip now, right? You have the girls with the Vegas girls walking showgirls, aka OnlyFans models, walking out with their cheeks out up and down the strip. Prepare your kids, right? You don't want a 13-year-old boy having this being the first time he sees a girl half naked and you having to deal with that on vacation, right?
Something that I would recommend to any dad bringing his kids to Vegas: stay at Red Rock, stay at Durango Station, stay at Green Valley Ranch.
Yep.
Green Valley Ranch is my favorite property.
Yep.
I take my kids literally every year for a staycation there.
Great pool. Better pool than the strip.
Their pool is fantastic. They have sand. They give you can make a sand castle, the whole thing. And then if you want to see a show or go to a restaurant, take them to the strip.
Yeah.
But you have to have, and this is where communication with your kids always is imperative, to tell them, hey, you're going to see stuff you've probably never seen before. I love people watching. You're going to see people all dressed differently, acting differently. If you have questions, ask me.
Yeah.
You can ask me at that certain time or tonight, whatever.
So you wouldn't want to prepare them before you got there? You'd want to do it live in the moment?
Yep. I would do something. I would prepare them just in terms of, hey, this isn't like you see things in Des Moines. So
this ain't Wisconsin.
This ain't Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, just tug on my arm and ask me.
Yeah.
Right when you have that question, I don't want you to wait. I want you to ask me in real time. Then there's nothing diluted. You don't forget anything.
Yeah. Vegas made this push in the 90s when we started transferring into resorts and, the Mirage and all that stuff to make it more kid-friendly, right? To have free kid activities. And now in 2025, I feel like we're switching back into a little bit more of like an adult Vegas, right? So just be prepared. Like you said, I think an easy top 5 is like stay in one of the off the strip casinos, right? If you want to take your family to see something on the strip, that's okay. Red Rock is 20 minutes from the strip, right? So stay in an off the strip casino. Number 4, talk to your kids either in advance or when you're there. Number 3, explore actual Vegas. You don't have to spend your whole time on the strip. Number 2, stay at either Mandalay Bay or the Wynn. Stay at the edges of the strip so that way you're not forcing your kids to always walk past all the nonsense. If you're at the Wynn or Mandalay Bay, you honestly don't even see the quote-unquote strip, right?
A great people watching thing that I'll do with my kids is we'll stay at the Waldorf Astoria, which is my favorite property on the strip.
Oh, Jeff's a baller, by the way.
I love it there. Well, I get Hilton points, so I get a free place to stay every year in any Hilton property. And I usually pick Waldorf Astoria. Yep.
Wait, I didn't know that.
The
Waldorf Astoria is Hilton rewards?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So
okay.
I stay there. I get a free night. And so, but the cool thing I'll do with my kids is like, we'll go to Italy. Like we'll get out, hang a right, and there's Italy.
Sure.
At New York. Great. Then the other thing we'll do is we'll hang a left. We'll go through Cosmo and then go through Bellagio and then over to Caesars and just kind of do that walk.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. You're walking your kids through the Cosmo, right? Are you using this time to teach them lessons on like, what happens when you walk your kid past a craps table or a blackjack table and everyone's having a great time?
Nothing.
Nope.
I want them to react to it. I want my kids to be good enough that like, if they see something and they have a question, they're going to ask me.
Okay.
And it's also good because like having lived here now for 15, 16 years, I used to gamble my ass off before I lived here.
Yeah.
I loved craps. Craps was my game. Now I'm so desensitized to it, I don't gamble. I might gamble once or twice a year, maybe. And that's it. So I'm desensitized to it. My kids are seeing that, good or bad. But if they have a question about it, I think that I'm good with both of my kids that they would ask me.
Yeah.
Like, are the hard way bets for suckers?
Wow. Now they're asking you.
Field's alive after 5. If someone rolls a 5, make a field bet immediately.
He's running them through the craps diaries.
Whenever a point gets established, if it's also one of the even numbers, that's a hard way bet. You always double up and do that.
Dealer always hits also too.
Yes.
Never played 3-2.
Yeah. Always put aces and eights. Come on. Every kid should know that.
One of the reasons Vegas is losing money is because these new generations don't know how to gamble. We laugh about this, but everything you're saying is normal for anybody who grew up in Vegas or spent time gambling.
Yeah.
But for these young generations, we're speaking in code. They don't know what the hell you're talking about.
They go to the clubs.
They go to the clubs.
That's it.
They're there for the DJs. They're there for the experience, right?
They're there for the DJs and for Instagram content.
And for Instagram content.
That's it.
Dude, more people go to the Cosmo and just take pictures of the strip of Vegas than ever participate. When I walk the kid through a casino, I always remind her, almost everyone here is going to leave a loser. Right?
Good for you.
And it's just, again, we are never here telling people there's a right or wrong way, right? There's a million dads in Vegas who have done this their own way and were successful. But I always want to remind her, none of these people are actually having fun. All right? When they leave here, I've been at the table when a guy bet his rent check. And I wish my kids could see the losers. I want them to see the losers. That's what I want them to see.
All you have to do is go to Harry Reid Airport and watch the people flying home. And read their fucking body language.
Their misery.
They're absolutely miserable. It's those people watching ever. People getting off the plane, they're shit-faced, they're ready to go, and they run to the nearest slot machine that they can at Harry Reid.
Isn't that the craziest
right?
shit?
And then conversely, the ones that are leaving, they just got done doing way too many drugs. They cheated on their spouse. They maxed out their credit cards. And they feel lower than low, and they're never coming back again until another 90 days.
Until another 90 days when all the bad feelings wear off.
When all that goes away.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do the one under Vegas Dad Survival Guide.
Oh, yeah. The most disrespectful thing a woman can do to a dad is let someone else's voice be louder in the relationship than his is. You ever been out with a couple and we've all watched a dad get disrespected by his partner, and you have that like internal, like, you want to stand up for him, but you just feel so like, oh, I don't want to interfere if this is normal for you guys. Worse than that is when you see a woman tell him, well, my mother said this, or my father said this. And it's just like, whoa, you still rank their opinions higher than his? Didn't you have a wedding ceremony where your dad walked you down the aisle and handed you off to this man and said, look, this is the new leader in your world, right? Did we all have the same wedding, or did I miss that? You know? And frankly, I don't think women know how disrespectful that feels to us. Have you ever been disrespected in this way? Not Brandy, I've met her. She's a class act, but by previous partners, did they ever, well, my mother said this, or my father, or this person who's not you, as if somehow that person is more, their voice carries more weight than yours does? No,
what I had was they feel that their voice carries more weight than mine does.
Okay.
Than mine.
So it was always like a one-on-one battle.
It was a lot of one-on-one battles.
Do you feel like the frustration comes because, and this was mine personally, so if I'm projecting on you, please cut me off. It's like, okay, you want me to be the leader when it comes to making all the hard decisions. And you want me to be the leader when it comes time to be accountable when things go wrong. But then you want to talk over me like you're leading the relationship. It's like you get to have all the best parts of being a leader without having to deal with the consequences.
That is a symptom of having bad communication with your spouse.
Okay, how so?
Because your spouse should know you better than anybody else on this planet.
True.
Anybody. So if you are taking a conversation in a dominant direction, they know where you're going with this thing. And or they might not know where you're going, but they trust you to go in a position that's going to protect and edify them. That's what it comes down to. It's not having the balls to have a conversation with your wife and being vulnerable to them when you're home so they get to know you, so you've earned that right.
Yeah. I think this is a huge failure of like modern courtship, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people date with purpose anymore. They're going on dates for fun and to see if they want to fuck you, but they're not dating to like work the kinks out. They think like, oh, we'll get married, then work on the communication. It's like, well, no, you get married and you can start fucking all the time because now you're married to this person, right?
Well, it's birth rates are down, marriage rates are down. This is global, not just the United States. And it's when I was 13, 14, I was like, whoa, girls.
Yeah.
First time I was with somebody, I was 16. I was 16 years old. And it was my first time I had sex.
16-year-old you.
16-year-old Jeff. Yeah.
How'd you whip it out?
I don't remember. I fumbled. Dude,
you fumbled? It's
please.
like pulling it out for the first time is like proposing. Where it's like, oh, I have this thing on me. How do I show it to you?
Yeah, it was just, well, of course, with me being half Irish, I'm like,
pulling it tweets.
Little fucking thimble, trying to get the goddamn thing out. Come on, let's go. Let's go. But getting back to the point is that strong men are a result of strong dads are a result of having a strong union with your wife.
100%.
That's full stop.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So when you take a flyer and go on your own on something in a conversation, in a group setting or whatever, and your wife is right there, she's got you.
Yeah.
She's got you.
100%.
And there's an ebb and flow to that.
It's just weird, isn't it? We talked about toxic femininity earlier. I think every man on earth can relate to what I'm about to say. Your wife, girlfriend, chooses you because she sees you as this leader, someone who is better than her and can teach her things. No woman's like, yeah, I don't want a leader, right? That's the biggest complaint you see women have. There's not enough leaders and men aren't leaders, okay? So then they find a leader and then they spend every waking moment trying to prove that he's a bitch again.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they can't ever just accept that they chose the right one. They have to constantly be like proving it, you know? And I don't think they understand what being a leader means in terms of as a man, right? Because being a leader doesn't just mean I have all the power, you obey me, you do what I say. Jeff, if something goes wrong with your family, bro, that's your fucking fault.
It's on me.
It's on you, bro. I've met your wife. She's adorable. No one's ever going to blame her. They're only going to blame you. That's Absolutely. A response. That's a burden men have to carry with them every day. If my family fails, that's my fault. It's a suffering that we live with, right? So leadership doesn't just come with, oh, look at me, I get to spend money and fuck bitches and do whatever. No, it's like, I'm responsible for everyone. Their failures are my failures.
You have to step up.
You have to step up. And so when you put somebody else's voices over ours, it's like, okay, well then have them go lead you, right? If their voice carries that much weight, have them go. To me, it's like the ultimate slap in the face.
I think that, to put a pin in it, you have to have the ability to want to fail. And I say that because you're going to be vulnerable. If you're coming in and you're saying, this is how I feel as a man in a relationship, the husband, the father, whatever, the breadwinner, whatever it is, this is how I feel. You have to have that support system there. You're going to have your wife who's there, your partner, or whatever, who's got your back. If the kids are there, they're watching. So the entire thing is a learning process, and they're watching how you handle a situation.
Yeah.
I am a far better person when I'm with my kids or my wife than I am on my own.
Yeah.
I am more likely to be a road rage motherfucker when I'm by myself in my car than when I've blown up a few times when Brandy's been there, but I'm better with her. I'm far better in the car than when my kids are in the car.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
Yeah. Well, it's the greatest. Once you become a man and you realize literally nobody can hold you accountable, you outside of yourself, right? There's a sense of freedom, but then there's also a sense of recklessness.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, I'm a man, dude. If I want to go punch somebody, I can go punch somebody. And then you have kids, and that accountability comes rushing back, right? It's like, for the first time in a lot of our lives, having a kid was the first time like being accountable for something outside of ourselves came into our face. And you're right. If I'm in a car with my speed goes down 40 miles per hour when my kid steps in the car.
Just to backtrack for a second.
Yeah.
I want nothing to ever come in my face. Ever.
Jesus, Jeff.
No hate, no judgment.
At your funeral, these are the jokes I'm going to tell.
I don't want anything to ever come in my face. Ever.
You sure?
Ever.
You know, a little squirt? No.
No. I would rather be the one, the provoker
of squirt
of said liquid projectile.
Okay, that's respectable.
Than be the receiver.
That's respectable.
You know,
I'm not a squirt guy myself.
Yeah,
that's never been my fetish.
Not my.
No judge to the men who are into that shit. That's just not our fetish.
Hey, you want to get your Jacques Cousteau fucking, Life of Steve Zissou aquatic fucking scuba suit on?
Life of aquatic. Bro, do people even know who Jacques Cousteau? I know who Jacques Cousteau is. To me, he's still relevant.
His boat was a Calypso. But hell yeah.
There's a 23-year-old dude who was there like, how the fuck do I spell Jacques Cousteau?
ChatGPT. Who the fuck is Jacques Cousteau? Yeah.
Oh, that's some funny shit.
Yeah.
Jeff, I am so fucking sick of people telling people to follow their passion. I remember in my 20s when I was looking for guidance, and there was always some fucking dude, man. I was working security. Imagine this. I'm working security at dive bars. And there's like 40-year-old dudes who are like, this is their life, right? Telling me, man, just follow your passion. And I'm like, is that what you did that led you here? Right? I have found that people who tell you to follow your passion are either broke as fuck or rich as fuck. And I think it's really bad advice for most people. Not all people, but most people, right? Me and you, we're passionate about this. We love doing this. But we also had successful careers during and prior to this that allowed this. But I feel like you disagree here.
I think that the faster you can do what you love, the better.
Sure.
I always go back to analogies with my kids. And if I could do it all over again, I would have never gone to college. I would have eaten ramen and rice and beans and scraped money together. And I would have gotten my real estate license as fast as possible. I would have bought an income property and lived in the other half of it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. And then paid off that debt and rinse, repeat. And rinse, repeat, and rinse, repeat. And then that's it. It's game over. It's awesome. You're done. You're done. And I'm imploring that upon my daughter, who she's a sophomore. She'll be a junior soon. And I'm telling her, you want to go to UNLV? Awesome. Great school. You want to go to UNR? Awesome. Great school.
Yeah.
Anything else? No. Or get on your own. But more importantly, what are you going to go to school for? Bless you. If you're going to go to school because you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a financial person, accountant, whatever that needs specific training and learning, and you're going to go for your master's no matter what, and probably a doctorate, a PhD, great. Then mazel tov, go to college. If not, get your ass a job, get to work it in and out, and you take every shift they will give you. And you don't travel. You eat rice and beans every fucking day. You don't go out and spend all this money for Instagram content and everything else. And you amass worth and wealth because it sets a work ethic. But then more importantly, you are then giving yourself a financial cushion. A really good friend of mine, Natasha Napoli, she's a realtor here in town. Love her. And I was texting her this morning about some stuff. And I met with her about 6 months ago. She had, and I'm saying it, and I'm sorry, Natasha, I'm going to share this part. She had no 401k and had a little bit of retirement put away. No 401k because she's a realtor. No Roth IRA. I taught her what a Roth IRA was. She is now, because I've helped her with it, but she's now maxing out her Roth IRA every year. And then the next thing she's going to do is set up a 401k through her LLC of being an independent contractor as a realtor and max out that 401k. Go. It's you're either putting money into a Roth, a 401k, or you're putting money away to buy an income property.
Yeah.
That's all you should be doing with your money from your first paycheck until you're in your probably 50s.
Or, and I agree with you on that. I think that is the safest route for most people to take. I'm not afraid to say this. The reason it's called most people is because most people are most people, right? The average person, if they follow your advice, would live a significantly better life than they're living right now, right? But you could also take that money, if you have that, and then take that to do with what you love. If you're making enough money to put it into a Roth IRA and you're making enough money to put it in a 401k, okay, that means you're making enough money to not only fulfill your current needs and wants, but you also have enough money to also put it for later. That's the money that I think you can spend on doing what you love. So I do real estate, okay? The money I make after I pay my bills goes towards this, goes towards trying to do the things I love, which is Vegas, which is YouTube, which is content. That's what I love to do. Jeff, I fucking love doing this. I'm depressed when I leave here because this is what I want to do. If we could do this for 5 fucking hours, like we're talk radio, I would do this like the Breakfast Club, right? But we can't right now. But that's the goal, is to get there, right? And that's where I want to put my money towards. Should I put it towards a Roth IRA? Yeah, that'd probably be the safer bet. But I'd rather put a bet on us.
I couldn't agree more, because take everything I just said, put a pin in that, because I started 2 years ago with my mom passing away. The company I was working for was paying for the podcast for most of it. But that, they let me go 7 months later, if my mom passed away, which is fine. And it's not their fault. It was my numbers sucked because I was doing more podcasting than knocking on brokerage doors.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hey, here's some fucking donuts. Want to open up escrow with me?
Yeah.
Jerk session. Fuck that. So nothing wrong with people that do that. It just wasn't for me.
Yes.
And it was insincere for me, and not genuine. And so I ended up taking money that I got from my inheritance from my mom passing away, and I'm even dipping into my 401k money to make this and Fargo Talks work.
Yep.
And now it's starting to pay off.
Yep.
Where I'm now in the black. April was my first month in the black that I didn't have to take money out of anything to pay for bills. I actually had enough money coming in to offset that.
Yep.
This month feel better. It's a better feeling than when I was getting 6-figure signing bonuses and monthly commission checks that were anywhere from, on the low side, $10,000 up to $18,000, $19,000 a month. I feel better now because of the independence and because I've earned everything.
Yep.
All of this is earned by my actions.
No one can take it away from you.
Nobody can take this away from me.
I tell a lot of young women, surprisingly enough, this ogre-looking face, young women will reach out to me, right?
Like a black Shrek.
Like a black Shrek, yeah. La Shrekia. A lot of young women will reach out to me, right? Because again, there's a lack of fathers out there. And one of the big things I tell them is, at 60 years old, your company will let you go after 40 years of service and not give 2 shits about you.
Adios.
If you attach your entire value to what you do for money, eventually someone's going to take that away, right? No one can take away what we're doing here. No one can take away our thoughts, our ideas, our accomplishments, right? When you build a brand, when you build a business, yeah, I know putting money into a Roth IRA is safer, but inflation can make that money worthless.
Absolutely right.
Right? When you take that money and you build something with it, it feels special. You get more than money. You get the satisfaction of knowing you've done something. Before I forget, you mentioned college earlier and how a lot of kids are going to college for basket weaving, dumb shit. Okay. Here are the top 10 jobs out of college. The top 10. Are you ready? Petroleum engineer, computer scientist, data scientist, investment banking, electrical engineer, systems engineer, chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, management consultant, engineering consultant. Science, technology, engineering, math.
STEM.
Across the fucking board.
All STEM
Jeff,
stuff.
if I did top 25, it's still all STEM.
Yeah.
And yet we keep sending kids to college telling them to Do what you're passionate about. You can do what you're passionate about without spending 50 grand a year in loan money that the government's going to take from your soul.
College has become the greatest grift in the history of the United States.
Oh, Jeff, you're going to fucking get me there, dude.
And with this hope and aspiration that you're going to go to Harvard and you're going to become a better person.
Yep.
Yet I don't practice, but my dad's Jewish. And so what if I'm a practicing Jew and I'm going to Harvard and there's these open protests by people that are pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, death to Israel, death to Jews, openly as I'm walking from one area to the other to my classes. And I'm paying $80,000, $90,000 a year to go to this place. And Trump has now said no more money from the federal government. They also have like a $60 billion endowment. Like they have the money. They're self-sufficient.
Sure.
They don't need government money.
Student loans are the single biggest grift. To me, I say this very openly, student loans are the devil because what's worse than taking an 18-year-old's future? Ask any 18, people are 35 years old, Jeff, and they don't know shit about loans. Seriously. One of the fun games I like to play with people is, okay, you're 18 years old. You have no life experience, no financial experience, nothing. And at 18 years old, they're willing to give you $100,000 a year to go to college with no life experience, no job experience. When you get out of college, they will not loan you money to buy a house now that you have life experience and a college experience because of the money that you owe from 18 years old. How does it make any fucking sense? You're stealing kids' entire future before they have a chance to get started.
The worst part is that no one is educating the kids about the gravity of graduating with that type of debt and how that debt is structured. You can't BK a student loan.
No.
You can't do that. You are stuck. It's like herpes. You never get rid of it. Remember Eddie Murphy would say it's like luggage?
Here's our clip from today. Student loans are like herpes. I think we're joking, but dead ass serious on this. Dead ass serious on this.
It's true. That's why I am so... A tale of two children.
Yeah.
My daughter is a mini-me. I think that she's going to go into real estate. I'm lucky enough, present company included, I'm friends with some of, when I say top performing, it's not just that their numbers are good, it's just they're good people as realtors here, and it's realtor, not realtor. Fuck off. With a little registered trademark, all caps. And so...
Fuck off, all caps.
Fuck off, all caps, registered trademark, Jeff Fargo. And so it is, I'm getting her to where my daughter... Probably, if not this summer, maybe next summer, definitely, because this summer going to her senior year, you're going to shadow 2 or 3 of my friends and go to, what's it like touring a new build? What's it like sitting down with somebody to represent them to purchase a home, buyer's representation, and what are all the, and walk through a deal. Shadow a title rep, shadow an escrow officer. I'm lucky to have those connections. I'm going to have Alex do all those things, Brandon. Now, compared it to my son, Jack, lovely, beautiful little Jack, who's 9, who in his school he's at, his elementary school, he's in the whatever the gifted and talented program is.
GATE?
He's in GATE. He's in GATE. Now, let me finish a second. He scored, it's like a 0 to a 99 is what you score. He scores a 99. Off the fucking chart. So he's in GATE. He is now loving 3D printing. Like there's a good chance, like come Christmas, I'm gonna get him a 3D printer. He's built little luggage tags that say Jack Fargo is cool. They're now doing miniature homes with 3D printing. He loves not only watching the finished product, but coding to actually what gives him the finished product. He's more analytical. So we're having the talks now. He's got time. But to say, honey, do you want to go into a GATE, a school that is more STEM related. Do you want to do that? And so I asked him once, he said, absolutely I do. Where it's more math, science, technology, coding, things like that. And let him pursue that. And maybe that's a direction he wants to go. And then if he wants to go to UNLV for engineering, done. I'm putting like $150 a month away right now. In whatever that 46B or whatever it is for in Nevada.
Yeah.
Done. I'll cover your undergrad, but be smart enough to cover your graduate degree. But that's different. It's two different kids.
Yeah.
Two different kids, Brandon. And I'm cool with both. I can relate more to my daughter, but I'm there for my son to help him, to weaponize him, to make him the best version of him. And at 55 and a half now, TikTok, motherfucker, as a dad.
Straight up.
Like, so I need to, with reckless abandon, be the best dad that I can right now to my kids.
Yes.
Learning from all my mistakes.
We talked about this a little bit last week, and I'm glad we can retouch on it now. Do whatever the fuck it takes. Like, listen, man, I consider myself a morally grounded person. I do my best I'm not a Bible thumper, but I do my best to live according to a well-Christian upbringing. I believe in, following certain laws. I'm like that. But when it comes to your kids, fuck all that, right? Some of the greatest families in world history started off some what we now would consider cruel or evil shit, right? But guess what? The Clintons are going to be rich forever, right? There are families that have built legacies that they're going to be rich. Bill Gates' family will be rich forever, right? Elon Musk, whoever weird kid he has next, will be rich forever.
He's like 14 kids.
Yeah, whatever. They're all going to be rich.
God bless.
They'll be rich forever.
Oh, absolutely.
He's made enough money that he could support hundreds of families with thousands of kids, right? Whatever it takes to make sure that your kids have a bigger advantage than other kids, good.
Last question. Off script. Go ahead.
One thing.
Go ahead.
About GATE. Have you ever heard the conspiracy theories about GATE?
No.
You should look into it. I was in GATE. And there's a high correlation to kids who were in GATE to kids who got addicted to drugs and video games.
Really?
And the conspiracy theory is that the school system was designed to make sure that kids stayed factory workers, and we never raised anybody that challenged these dynasties. So the theory is that GATE was created to take the smart kids who could potentially lead the other kids, isolate them so that all the lower end, the lesser intelligent kids were kept in the same area, right? And they would isolate the really smart kids and have them do activities that seemed smart but didn't actually get them to places, right? Because of millennials and GATE and how many of them got addicted to drugs and video games. Now, again, how much of this is true? Who knows? Just wanted to hear if you had ever heard of that.
No, never.
No?
It's wild. And but it makes sense.
Dive into it.
I will.
Dive into it.
Thank you.
I think it's an interesting read. Obviously, as with all conspiracy theories, there's huge holes and leaps of logic.
It is what it is.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. So my final question to you is this. If you were a billionaire,
okay,
upon your death, do you leave your kids everything? Do you leave them a little bit? What do you do?
I want my kids to be Nepo babies. I've been very honest about this. I don't hide it. I don't care. I will run the risk. I think I've done good enough at my job that my kids won't end up spoiled, that I think I could leave my kids a shit ton of money and they'd be fine with it. They would. Now, obviously, I would try to give money to the kids of Vegas. I would sponsor as many. I have $1 billion. I'm taking a Title I school and I'm fixing all their problems single-handedly, right? There was this guy in Florida. I wish I remember his name. He basically he did what you did. He had millions of dollars and he took a lower end school in Florida and he offered the parents free daycare. He brought in all these free trainings and he spiked the graduation rate just by doing a few things like offering free daycare for the parents and things like that. I would try to accomplish something like that. But the rest of the money, no, I'm leaving it to my kids, dude. I earned that money for them. These people, these billionaires who try to virtue signal being like, I'm going to give every penny to charity and leave my kids $1 million. Go fuck yourself, dude. I don't believe in that. Do we disagree?
We do.
Oh, fuck. Let's go. Lay it on me.
Oh, we do.
Lay it on me.
I am someone that I'm never going to have that kind of money. And I know that for a fact. And I'm okay with that. But if I had a shit ton of money and on my deathbed, my kids would get nothing. Not a penny.
Nothing.
Nope. Not a penny. What they'll have is what I've given them from my brain and from what I've demonstrated in terms of how I've acted as their dad, as the value from them to draw from that to go ahead and make money.
Not even a small inheritance?
Nope.
Do you think inheritances are ultimately bad?
Yep. And I'm someone that's getting it. Like I'm the sole beneficiary of my dad. I'm an only child. And I got a decent amount of money when my mom passed away. Yeah. So it's pot calling the kettle black. No pun intended.
I'm more of like a golden cookie brown.
I was going to say, well, you're like a soft caramel.
The racist blacks would call me high yellow. That's the term they've created for us people who weren't able to choose our parents.
But yeah, they won't get a dime. There's sentimental stuff that they'll get. There's like material stuff that I have that I'm gonna bequeath to them. But money, no, not a dime.
What was the point of the money?
For me.
Then why didn't you spend it all?
Because it was. Well, I'd rather it go like to charities or my wife, and let her do what she wants with it. And she probably spoiled the shit out of them.
Are you old enough to remember the movie Brewster's Millions?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, Jackie Gleason? Are you kidding me? With Richard Pryor?
How would you spend? Let's say this podcast takes off, right? Yeah. We end up like Joe Rogan light, some shit like that. Money comes in. We 5 years from now, we're sipping Mai Tais in Maui, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we reach a point, you have millions of dollars, mm-hmm. and you knew you're gonna die. You had 30 days to live. How would you spend that? If you're not gonna give it to your kids, you're not gonna give it to your kids.
How much exactly do I have? Give me a number. I'll tell you.
$20 million.
Okay, that's not enough to have my own yacht, but it's enough to travel around the world, take my kids out of school. And all like my stepdaughter, my daughter, my son, and my wife, and we are traveling the world, seeing things like walking the Great Wall of China.
$20 million, you're helicoptering over that bitch.
Dude, no, we're doing Uber Lux, like having our personal translator there to like take us around. We're doing stuff like that, but then also most of the money is going towards charity. Is going to places like you said, like school, like the schools here.
Yeah.
I would put money towards schools here. I would do a scholarship at where I went to high school in perpetuity. Put a shitload of money into a savings account from the draw from.
You're not concerned that these schools already waste a lot of money and they're going to waste yours?
I would have somebody that's the executive of my estate that would take care of all that.
Somebody a third party.
Yeah, I'd have a third party, like an attorney who I know, and I know a bunch of them, especially back home.
Yeah, attorneys never steal people's money.
Of course not. And just have them kind of manage, it would be a trustee.
Okay.
And you create a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay. Listen.
That's what I would do.
Listen, I'm a man of charity.
It's just, Brandon, and we'll end on this. It's so much better to have money earned than money given to you. And people say, well, you've never had $1 million given to you. No, I haven't, but I've had several $100,000 given to me before, compared to me making several $100,000. And you can't even compare the feeling that you have when you have that kind of money coming in from your own merit.
I can see your point. I also want to see my kid's face when $50 million hits their bank account. Hey, here's how much daddy loved you. I suffered an entire lifetime so that you could see something stupid.
And for that, I love. We disagree, but I love where your heart's at. And I love that that's what you want to do. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
We both love our kids.
We both love our kids.
That's the important thing.
Thank you, sir. Another great episode.
Thank you, man. This was good.
And we will, next episode, you're going to want to watch the whole thing because we're going to start doing giveaways. We have a sponsor that we'll be announcing, and it's a good one. It's a really, really fucking good one. Yeah. And we'll start dropping little Easter eggs throughout our episodes, and also we'll put stuff in clips too for people to get some really cool stuff.
Make sure you guys pay attention to Jeff's page. Make sure you pay attention to my page. We'll be dropping little clips. We'll drop in stories about how you can win these giveaways, but you'll definitely want to stay tuned. These are some really good gifts.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff.